live on Facebook. Hello, Facebook world. Dr. Brenda and Janine, Mick Janet here coming in our alphabet game. We are live. We are recording. Now, all we have to do is push it through to the right peeps, because what good is just talking to yourself if you're not getting the message out, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to have to edit this baby because we've been recording since we started. So let's see what's going to happen here.
Oh, good. How are
There
you?
we go.
How's everybody this fantastic Friday? Oh, we're not F's. How's everybody this wonderful weekday? How's that? Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, I'm all set finally. Wow, what a morning.
Wow, is
What?
right.
Wow, hey, it's W. I did
That was the first word that was
accidental.
It doesn't only start with W, it ends with W, and right in the middle is O. So wow is right. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday.
It is Friday. You know, Fridays haven't meant that much to me since I've been an entrepreneur. You know, every day is kind of different. I can work on a Saturday or Sunday. And then yesterday, I got a taste of what that old life was like. So I went to an HR conference, started at 7:30 in the morning, and I had to leave here at 6 a.m. and go on the Southern California freeways to get to this event. And it's like, I mean, I used to commute. I've lived in big places. And it's like, by the time you get to an event, by the time you get to your workplace, you're already stressed. And so, W is like work, but I got a taste of what that old life for me used to be like. Made me a little sick, quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's PTSD. I've experienced it myself.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Let's just circle back a little bit. Who are you? What do you hear? I'll do my intro, and then we're going to just continue on because, I thought, W, what kind of conversation can we have with W? And it's going to be a wild one. It's going to be a wild one, guaranteed. Yeah. So I'm Janine McJanet. I'm a RTT, hypnotherapy, transformational coach, empowerment and play expertise with women. I got all of those words just wildly mixed up, but in a nutshell, that's who I am. And we're pulling close to the end of the alphabet game. Not to worry, because we got some good things that are brewing up. That's a little bit about me. If you're here, if you're new, welcome. Like, write down where you're from. If you've got any questions or comments, engagement is part of the game. And over to you now, Dr. Brenda, whichever side you may be at.
Woohoo! I'm Dr. Brenda. I'm a sociologist, a speaker, a financial coach, and pretty soon I'm going to be a climate steward. I'm taking classes on climate steward. So I'm about to add that to my portfolio because I'm going to be probably one of the only financial coaches who is also concerned about the climate and planet and sustainability and all those good things. And I believe that we can build a rich life while protecting the planet.
Yeah.
Woo, how'd that go? Hey, that's the first time I tried that one out.
Oh, use it. This is what it's about. This is like, how often, and this is a challenge out to the audience, how often do you introduce yourself, not just your name or who you are? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I work at this place or whatever. But how many of you really dive into what you are passionate about in your introduction? That's the challenge that I would love to put out to all you warriors out there, is to introduce yourself with some boom and some wonderness. Like, we are all Wonder Women, aren't we? We are. We have this magic inside of us. Let's get it out there. I feel that this W Wow Day is going to be just about that. What is the wow in you, and how can you get that wow out there instead of sitting on it and going, I think I'm going to worry. It's everywhere, right? How many of you worry so much because you're not quite what you think you ought to be, or maybe not quite what you think other people think you ought to be? So,
boy, did I think about you yesterday. A wonderful presentation by a woman who goes by the phrase lion tamer. And these are HR professionals, and she talked about people pleasers because some of the HR folks are responding to emails from the boss at 9 p.m. and they feel like they gotta get back and respond right away. And it's like, no, you don't. We gotta have the barriers. But anyway, I thought about you. And I this morning too, I was like, worry. It's Finance Friday for me, and that can be great. It's very serious for me. So I'd look at my numbers, and sometimes there's a bit of worry in there.
Yeah.
But I thought about this morning because you can worry and you can worry and you can worry. What are you gonna do about it?
What does it do to you? Yeah. What does worry do for you? It stops you from being
To
in the moment.
me, though, it's a prompt. So, like, okay, if I'm worried about my finances or I'm worried about this relationship, it's a prompt for me to, like, you know what? I don't want all day to spend dwelling in this shit. So I need to speak to somebody. I need to get into my Excel spreadsheet. I need to have some
Yeah.
empowerment. I need to take my power back. So, I mean, there are things that we know are beyond our circumstances, an ill friend, someone in the family who's not doing well. Those are things that we worry about too, that are beyond our control. But what is in our control is how we worry about it, how long we worry about it, what we do to take action to ease our own worries.
And to that, you can see me just brewing in the
I
back.
know.
It's like the question that if you ask yourself this question through any kind of worry or any kind of stress or any kind of trigger out there, if you ask yourself this one question multiple times, and it's a very short question, if you ask yourself this question, you're going to get deeper and deeper into the real truth instead of floating in that worry, that anxiety, that depression, wherever it is to be inquirous. I don't even know if that's a word, to inquire upon yourself. Inquirous. Let's make it a word.
Curious, inquisitive,
Inquisitive,
inquire,
incurious.
inquire.
Incurious, new word. You've got to be incurious, curious about what's going inside. And you want to know what that question is? Do you?
Feed it to us.
Okay, the question is, get a pen and paper for this. Why?
Yeah.
Question mark. That's it. If you're feeling worry, why? So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to sort of do a role play with you, if you don't mind. Why were you feeling worry yesterday? Was it yesterday?
Hang on. I got an escape cat.
She's got an escape cat. So I'm going to just play with you. Ask yourself why. If you've got something going on, if you're not feeling good, if someone triggers you, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Okay, so I'm going to think of a situation. Okay, I got triggered yesterday from my teenage daughter because she was being really disruptive in terms of trying to communicate. It's a trigger for me. Why? Why am I getting upset? Where did I feel it? I felt in my tummy and there was this big knot. Why did I feel that? And I said, I feel that because she's not behaving like I expect my daughter to behave. Why do you expect your daughter to behave like that? Well, I expect my daughter to behave like that because that's how good families are. So you see, the more we ask why is that a good family to you? Well, obviously, those are my beliefs. So it's always about questioning what your beliefs are and where they came from. And now I have the choice to change that belief that all teenage 17-year-old daughters who are on their period and having all sorts of problems don't have to act like this. They can be themselves. And so I relieve myself of the worry that I would probably consistently take on and wearing the worrier. And I'd become a warrior for myself by just asking why. So that's a couple of why scenarios, but do keep on asking why until you get to the real emotion, till you get to the root cause, till you get to the core belief that might not be serving you well. And then you're going to find that you're going to release all this weight. See, you can release all this weight that you're carrying around. You don't have to. So yeah, don't need to walk on eggshells.
Okay. Well, yeah, Kat is now in her chair, so she's lounging. So I'm worrying a little bit about the cats because both of them are having some medical problems. And I'm like, Okay, they got vet appointments, doing what I can do.
Yeah. So the question is, why worry about it when it's out of your control, right? You're doing what you can, and this applies to anything that
Well, but like I said, though, that the worrying is a prompt because it starts if you're worried, like for me, like for finances, and whether it's my own finances or I'm coaching somebody, that worry, like we worry about our debt level, a lot of us do, or we're spending money on things that we shouldn't. That worry,
up.
I want you to take that worry and take a look at the problem and how we can fix it, because all of these things are fixable. And so like that's like what I do my Finance Fridays, because it's like whatever the situation is, I am in charge of directing my money where it needs to go. It might not be the number that I want, but I'm in charge of it. And when I procrastinate and put that off, it's in charge of me.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with worry. We let the worry be in charge of us and how we handle our days.
Yeah. And it's a control issue, right? We let the external environment control us, whether it is worry, whether it is relationships, whether it is nutrition, whatever that triggers that worry. We let
So
it rule us rather than us
yeah,
being.
and well, and the other thing that I talk about is like redefining things. So like wealth. When people think of wealth, they automatically think to the amount of money in their retirement and their checking accounts and their, net worth, right? Worth and wealth. And it's like, that's really a small piece of wealth, because wealth is about our own inner selves. It's about being healthy, living as healthy as we can. It's about having a positive outlook. It's about being part of a community and creating friends, those things that we do that enrich our lives. So like,
Mhm.
even as a financial coach, it's like, you know what? The money is just a part of wealth. There are all these other elements, living according to your values. And to me, I always say the most precious thing we have is time.
Mhm.
When you are running around, like, I mean, I really felt it yesterday at the conference I went to, like people just like handling too many things and burning out and just trying to get through one more day.
Yeah.
They have a scarcity of time. They have a scarcity of time, and we need to build a wealth of time that we choose how to use our time. And I think we don't do that enough. We don't. Like, you have this great morning routine. I hope you did it this morning.
Well, I did some of it this morning, and that's a good sort of a good segue into what you're really talking about is our well-being, right? And how we redefining what is important to us, whether it's redefining success, whether it's redefining wealth, or whether it's
Yes.
redefining what our our well-being is like. And our well-being, going back to what I had said earlier, is a choice we make. We come into this world and we're conditioned by anything and everyone that starts out with us as soon as we come out, right? And so we learn what to do from our parents. If our parents worry, we tend to be a bit of a worrier. If they worry about money, we grow up with a money mindset about worry. If they go to bed late, they're night owls, we're probably going to be a night owl. But this is how we are conditioned. And the beautiful thing is that we can take that and question it, be curious, ask why. Why am I worried about money? Why am I going to bed late when I'm really tired? We can ask why and go, oh, because it's a belief that that's who I am. It's the what, where, why, who thing. And that's the W's. Sometimes why. It's all of them, right? It's all of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, what is the well-being? And if you're not feeling that well-being flourishing in whatever life category, how can you focus on it, redefine it, and recommit to creating something that is more in line with your values?
Yeah. Yeah. So there are two words that pop into my head. It's wonder and wander. Wonder and wander. Just, one little vowel difference. And years ago, I took a 9-week mindfulness class. One of our assignments was to wander, to do a wandering walking meditation. And just let your body kind of go where it wanted to go. Maybe you see something over there and you wander over there. And it really struck me as how freeing this activity was. In fact, when we get off this phone, I may just do that a little bit myself. I'll look out for the mountain lions, of course. But the whole practice of wandering and meditating, how many people really do that? And I would challenge everybody out there to give it a try. Just let your feet and your senses take where you want to go. And every time your mind starts going into, is it my 2 minutes up? Am I done? Do I have, I got to do this and this and this?
It's worry.
Pause and just focus on something, the pebble in front of you, the tree in front of you, whatever it is, and continue wandering. And you're going to feel so much better after that. And it's also tied to wonder, because we live in a world of wonderment. And that is what I've really learned being on the road, is that I have seen sights and immersed myself in senses that I didn't know were possible. So see the world with wonder.
Yeah. Wandering the wonder. Wandering through the wonder.
I love those words. Wander.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, Wander Woman. That's a lot of us RVers are Wander Women.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great, that leads right back into your well-being is that sensory exploration, and recognizing when you are in a worry mood. And worry, what does worry lead to? Like, it starts with the mind, right? Oh, something doesn't feel right. Then you start to get maybe a little worried, then a little stressed. Then you might get aggravated. Then you might get frustrated. Then you might get up to anger, and who knows, up to rage. It's a vicious cycle, and it's a path you choose, whether it is to be in the moment or whether it is to worry, whether it's wonder, or worry, right? And so if you choose that wonder path, which is all about curiosity, wondering, then your outcome is going to be far different if you choose the worry path. But if you get it right at the beginning and not let it go down that spiral, you can choose the wander into curiosity, into excitement. And yeah, things are going to be hard, but you can overcome them and you can get to a place of play and joy and fun, rather than ending up in that place.
Yeah.
Rage.
Yeah. So, I mean, another word that is part of our lives is work. And I don't mean just the job, but we work at hopefully improving ourselves, but we work to make money. We might volunteer, that's some kind of work. We keep our houses clean, that's work. But I'm really struggling. Luckily my sister doesn't watch this, so I can tattle on her. But she's tired of work. She doesn't like the people she works with. She's frustrated. She's been like that for a while. She's doing really, really well financially. And she keeps pushing to, 2026, when this is going to happen. It's the someday syndrome. And it's like that takes a huge toll on your physical and emotional health when you're struggling to go into the office, and more days than not, you don't want to be there. And I mean, I don't, so many of us are in that place where work is becoming a struggle. It's taking over our lives, health, physical, personal lives, our family lives. We come home, we're aggravated, we're not in a good place. And what's interesting to me is that a lot of times people can financially leave that work. Now she's tied to the big income. She doesn't need that big income. She's got savings. Her expenses are relatively small, but there's something about that big income that says, you know what, I gotta stay. I'd be a fool for leaving, right? Maybe you're a fool for staying, because what's the impact? How many of us never make it to retirement? How many of us, by the time we do leave, our health is so zapped out that we can't recover? And so it's like work has got to be, I don't really like the balance idea because we're never really balanced, but it's time to let your heart speak.
Yeah.
And
No,
especially if you know that you can financially do this, or you can get by with a part-time job, she's got a job that anybody is in high demand, and work part-time, get your health benefits. That's a big concern here in the US, but it's like, when is it time to put us first?
yeah.
I mean, having been to this conference, I know I am never, I hope never, if I have to, I have to, but I am working very hard to never go back into that office environment. And so are you.
Mhm. You know what I think it comes down to, that you've spoken very wisely about, is our self-worth. And when we question ourselves, what is important to us, what is success to us, when we redefine it, when we recommit to a new explanation, a new exploration. You talk about the someday syndrome. I call it what-if-itis, which is a real disease of the mind, right? What-if-itis? What if this happens? What if that happens? Which ties exactly right back
You
to worry.
worry. Yep, you're
Right?
right.
So what does that mean? How can we find our worth? How can we redefine our worth? How can we look at ourselves? And I ask these questions because I really want you guys to think about what your worth is tied to, what beliefs your worth is tied to. And so if you have a belief that I need to work, I need to make this money to be successful, and I need to be successful to feel alive and to find that joy, then what if you just were curious enough? What if you just asked yourself, what is this about? What is my worth? What is my belief? What is my core belief that is driving this? And vavoom, you have the ability, once you understand what your belief system is, and when you start to question your beliefs, that's the perfect opportunity for you to change your belief system and redefine it, as you said, and recommit to another strategy, another plan, another task that more aligns with where you are in your life. Because none of us are getting younger. We're all going to die. Every single one of us is going to die. As much as we think we're a warrior on this path, and one day I'm going to do this, well, what if that time never comes? And so that's the question. What is your worth? What do you really, really want? And why? There's that question again.
I
Why?
like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And the thing is, with what if itis,
Mhm.
we often go to the what if and we go to the negative. And for me, I'm like when I decided I'm going to sell the house, I'm going to move into an RV. And I can't tell you how many people said, well, what if you hate it? What if you don't like it? What if it just doesn't work out?
What if you just kept your mouth closed and let me live my own dream?
And I'm like, what if I love it?
Yeah.
What if this opens up a whole new world for me? What if I find that my heart is full from being on the road? What if? And so I challenge everybody, the next time you get that what if itis, the thing we regret the most is the thing we never tried. What if I'm going to die on my deathbed, curious about what would have happened if I had said yes? If I had followed my heart,
Yeah.
what would I be feeling now? Would I be feeling this whole? Would I be feeling this regret? No, you're not. You're not going to regret for trying.
And
Trust me.
how to weave that visualization of you on your deathbed, how to weave it into your current place and go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it, instead of waiting until tomorrow for that time to come where I'm going to do it. And believe me, this is something that I struggle with. Oh, I've got these great ideas. We all have great ideas, but they sit in a place on your phone, or they sit in your head or in a diary, and they just rot. They just rot. What if you could pull one of those ideas and step up, step out, and get into it and just do it, regardless of the fear that is there that's stopping you and blocking you, and just going, oh, this is my chance. This is my chance to be who I am, to stand up and speak. I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always so vocal or bold, and I'm not always this vocal or bold. But when I get to something passionate, I just let it rip. I let it rip, because it's not worth waiting. It's really not. If you have an idea, just go out and get there. I would never have thought that, oh, I'm going to be a host for a world summit. So I said, I'm going to do it. Did I really think that I was going to do it? There was a part of me that said, no, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to make a little attempt. And then people know, oh, yeah, she's got some balls in that category. And I'm like, no, push, push, push. And now once you start to roll, once you start to find that wild woman inside of you, the what if I just goes away. And like you said, it stops being, what if I fail, to wow, what if I, get this speaker? What if I get this speaker? And what if I don't? There's still a benefit in each of those. And this is the weaving. This is the weaving of our thoughts, of our patterns. And it just means, wow, get out there.
When you break through one fear, and I don't care how little it is, it gives you so much confidence and you start busting. And I've got my first speaking gig tomorrow morning. And it's, for a lot of people, folks are afraid to death of speaking.
Yeah.
It's a very common fear. But what happens if you get out there and you just raise your hand at a meeting and you speak up? Your heart might be pounding, and you do it once, and it's like, you know what? The sky didn't fall down. Nothing happened. And people, this was a conversation at the conference yesterday. The speaker talked about someone who just like sat in at these meetings for years, and finally she raised her hand in the moment and said, you know what, here's what I think would benefit us. And everybody clapped.
Mhm.
It's like, way to go, you got out there, you spoke up, way to go. And we have to do that with ourselves. Things are scary when we first start. It's okay. It's okay. You got to go through that. Or one day, I mean, what are you going to do? Hang out in your house all day long and this is the end of life?
Our
It's too
brain,
rich.
our brain is so wired to protect us and to keep us safe. And so in that example of the fear of speaking and getting up there and speak, what is the worry under that? Is the work, you've heard the expression, worried to death. Oh my God, if I do that, I'm going to die. But it's real. It's real. Your brain is saying you will die if you go out there, because there's not only just the fear of being judged, of being rejected, and potentially being completely abandoned, which comes right back to our root conditioning. It's real in our brain. So we have to tell ourselves a different story. We have to tell ourselves a better lie. So in that example, going up to the stage, and I used to be so afraid. The last time I spoke before I got better, before I really sort of woke up, and it was in front of my department, and it was about wellness and well-being, and something I felt really passionate about. I walked up, I was red, my heart, my hands. I got to the microphone and my ears literally started ringing, and that has never happened to me before. And I got to the mic and I was like, boom, boom, boom inside my head. And I looked around, I said, does anybody else hear that? Luckily, I knew most of them, and none of them really said, oh no, they said, you did fine. It's all inside ourselves. So that's when I said, this is silly. It's something I want to share. And I didn't know I'd be where I was today. But what helped me was telling myself a different story. Next time I went up, I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid to death. I'm excited at what's going to come. So just that one word, because it's the same physiological reaction, being excited and being nervous. How can you reframe? How can you redefine? How can you recommit to being who you want to be and get rid of that fear?
Yeah. I mean, the other piece of it is, so like, here's my little note cards for tomorrow. So I got my speech all on my note cards. I'm confident. I've built up my confidence with knowledge, with experience.
And that's a skill, which is awesome.
And the other thing is, I am living these values.
Mhm.
I am not standing up there as a hypocrite,
Yeah.
which we know that many people do as I say, not as I do, as this week's LinkedIn post was about. But when you are standing firm in your values, your experiences are aligned with what you're talking about, and you have a resource. This is going to blow people's minds out. This is going to be a different way to look at their money that they have never heard about before. It's going to be like explosive, and I can't wait to deliver it to them.
See, that's a good waiting. That's a good waiting.
It is a good waiting. It is a good waiting. Now,
That's gonna
what happens if I
over
go
40
out tomorrow and I flop? It ain't going to happen. It's not even a possibility. It's just not possible. Now, I might be, expecting 50 people and I get 10 people. It doesn't matter. They all get full on A+, excited, energetic, wild Dr. Brenda. They all get you. And that's the other thing, is always bring your A game. It doesn't matter if there's one person there or you're speaking to 1,000 people.
And it's all perspective too. It's all letting go of that fear of judgment. While we wrap up here, is like, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. It really doesn't. If you're doing something that you're afraid of, even if it's a small thing, even if it's like going for a walk just to the end of your driveway, just to start your exercise routine, that's something for you to be proud of. That's something for you to wear on yourself as a badge of progress. It's not about perfectionism in this world. It's about progress. So just keep doing. And that's, I think, our main message today, is just take the action, get out there and do it. Stop with all the negative worrying and just find your worth and lead yourself to it. Whatifitis doesn't have to be a disease. It could be a really great thing for you, because you're questioning yourself.
Yeah.
What if this happens? What if this happens? All this decision making that people pleasers find so hard to do. What if this happens? Well, what if this other thing happens? And what if this other thing happens? Because our mind, our brain is wired to protect us. So when it even smells the littlest amount of fear, it's like, oh, here it comes. I'm going to protect you. Here's anxiety and stress and fear and isolation and all these things coming, and just be safe. But it's like, piss off, you guys.
Just in time for Halloween.
Cool. Well, so yeah, this is it. Tell us what you got coming up, and I'm excited. I hope that you'll be able to record your speech and share it with us.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be videoed. I'm gonna actually ask someone to video at least part of it so that I have that. Yeah, so I've got to
the
talk.
whole thing, please just get a tripod and put it there and just ask someone to monitor it.
Good idea. Good idea. Yeah. So I'm actually talking to nurses, and it's about well-being, their personal well-being, physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially. So I'm really, really excited about that. And as I talk to more people, I think they'd be interested in for their organizations, but they're actually thinking about their own well-being.
Yeah.
I have Dream Week coming up November 5th, and I'm building out Wealth Road, which is a monthly subscription program, but it brings in that my climate steward, my passion for protecting the earth and sustainability while building your wealth. It's very value driven.
Good.
So lots of stuff coming up. I do want to say, though, be wild. We didn't get to talk about wild, really. And wild means just following your own spirit.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you can't be dancing in the streets. Dance in the streets. God damn it.
Yeah, go girl. I love it. Well, I live the beyond wild. What's coming up for me, and I think both you and I are jumping into the wild woman realm world. Just keep it that. The wild woman world is just stepping out of the fears that we had last year about what our own worth. So I'm hosting a summit, and I'm having an incredible time, learning opportunity as well, called Women Empowered and Free. And it's about emotional freedom and people pleasing. And so I'm pushing that out, and oh my gosh, I've got some of the biggest speakers I couldn't even have imagined connecting with. I am reading the most amazing book now, and the doctor who wrote it, I'm like, oh, she'd be pretty cool to be on my summit. So I found her, I reached out to her, I finally got to her, and now we are connecting and back and forth, and she's interested in it. And I'm like, oh my God, who else? So I'm just reaching out to all these.
Yeah, you are. You are on fire, my friend. On
cool.
fire.
And with that World Summit that's coming up in December, I've also now laid out a beautiful transition into what used to be called my inner child play date, which it still is, but it's going to be all now about emotional sobriety. So I'm going to release the interview that I just recently had on the Emotional Sobriety podcast with another man, doctor, who's on the summit. And I just feel like it's going. You and I have connected. I don't know whether we're accountability partners or now productivity partners, because we're like, go, go, go. So we keep coming in. And
We
that's
are
what's going on.
momentum monsters.
Woo! Halloween month. And I leave with this question on W, is to really look inside and change the disease of what-if-itis from hiding to really showing up. Because as you said, everything is fixable. And so look at it, be really curious, and ask yourself why. Just keep on asking yourself why. And in this Halloween month, look in the mirror and just say, what am I really afraid of?
I'm a little scared. Okay, thank you all for joining us. And until next time, we get WX. We got the X. We're gonna have an argument. We're gonna have a fight over X. I can
X
just
is gonna
tell
be
because I
so
can only
awesome.
talk about X-rays for so
No,
long.
we can talk about xylophones, woman. Oh,
Okay, well,
it's
what's gonna
fun.
be a challenge? See y'all.
It's gonna be an opportunity.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Woo-hoo. Doo, 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 doo.